Hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Addie, and today we are back with another part to the speed build from last week. If you missed it, we are building a fraternity for Britechester. So it's very green in here, like very green. We we are currently working on the upstairs. And last part, this is only going to be a two-part series, but last part we did the floor plan and sort of did like the preliminary actual like layout and things of the build. So we have currently, I believe, 8 or 9 bedrooms, and then we have 2 bathrooms up here. We have a shower and a tub, and then also a toilet. I didn't add laundry in this build. That might be useful. It might be annoying. Just depends on how you find laundry in The Sims, I guess. Um, and we are working on the bedrooms. So this bedroom actually has an ensuite, which is really nice. This build is really nice because a lot of the um I don't know what I was saying. My brain was like, "Oh, I'm deleting all of the beds." Um And so this build ends up being pretty nice because we have a lot of space and a lot of bathrooms. And I think we end up having like waffle makers, we have hot pots, we have um, like what are they called? Microwaves, coffee. I mean, you think of it, we probably have it in this build. So, with the exception of laundry, we do not have laundry. Uh, oh, and the cream room ends up having an ensuite bathroom. Cool. Well, good for them. So this room, I don't know. I don't remember what this room ends up being. I remember it's very blue. And I think this is like the captain of the spirit team. Either that or this sim is like estranged from their parents and spends a lot of time in their room. They probably either have a lot of friends or have no friends. I take your pick. Take your pick. Um, we are putting a lot of bookshelves around the place. I feel like this sim, just again, I don't remember what this um what this sim was into. They give me like history or literature vibes. All of these rooms have bookshelves of some variety, and then they also all have green curtains because I imagined those were from the actual like university itself, whereas like the bed sheets and stuff were like things that the students brought in. This sim is a painter, obviously. They have the easel. I did imagine that this sim was in the art club, so they have that one. And then we've got like some easels and some canvas, or I think we only have the one easel, but we have some canvases. I did imagine that this sim was probably more into like landscapes rather than portraiture. Um and this sim probably spends a lot of time painting. Um, I did imagine that this sim probably was more into like acrylic painting rather than oil painting, just because they if they do a lot of paintings, they probably don't want to have to wait for paint to dry. Maybe I'm just projecting. I myself am an acrylic painter. I do not like oil paints. I find them very frustrating. There is a time and a place to let the paint dry. And that might be, you know, that moment from Avatar: The Last Airbender where Uncle Iroh is like something about, I don't know. He's like, "Are you so wrapped up in yourselves you can't even see that your own ship has set sail?" And Zuko's like, "This isn't the time for your proverbs, Uncle." Yeah, I feel like that could be a proverb, but I'm literally talking about paint drying. There is a time and a place to let the paint dry. And so that sim may, I feel like I'm just projecting onto them, but I feel like they would do acrylic painting and not oil painting. Anyway, this third room I imagined was probably a sim that was pretty crafty, like hands-on kind of crafty. So knitting, not necessarily knitting, but like dirty work, like dirty crafting. Um, dirty crafting is what I meant. So they've got like the woodworking table. They probably paint their woodworking stuff, even though you can't do that in The Sims. They would probably have um they would probably have like pottery, if pottery was a thing in The Sims. They have the candle making station. We have I did imagine that they had if we had more like dirty but like crafts, so like pottery, woodworking, like the fabrication, but not necessarily like the ugly fabrication machine thing. Yeah, that would be this sim, the brown sim. The brown sim meaning like their room, not brown as in like the color of their skin. I don't know what that Sims looks like. That's just their room. This sim is the pink sim, and they have, I don't know what they do. I feel like this sim is probably a freshman, so like fresh out of high school. Um, People always like in high school, all of my teachers, oh, they must be into music. Okay, well that's nice. Um, in high school, teachers always tell you that, like, oh, when you graduate high school, you're going to be the little fish in a big ocean. And I didn't, maybe it's because I went to a community college, but nobody knows what's going on in college. Like, people act like college is so different or like so similar to high school, and it's really not. Like, objectively, college is so different. You don't like the professor? Change the class. You want to switch from section A to section B or section 105 to section 206? Like, you can do that. Whereas in high school, it's pretty much like this is the French teacher. This is the Spanish teacher. This is the physics teacher. And you don't really have a lot of options. But in college, usually there's at least two professors for every class. So I feel like it's like in high school you just sort of have to put up with it. But in college, it's like you can choose. You don't want to deal with the shitty ass sexist teacher. You don't have to. You know what I mean? So college personally was so much better, and all of my friends were like, "Oh, well, that's because you're smart." Well, yes and no. Yeah, I'm smart, but that doesn't mean that college is easier for me. Like, I found college harder than high school, but I think that college is better because there's more support in college. Like, if your teacher or your professor does not support you as a student, then like ditch the teacher, fuck the fuck the professor. I mean, don't fuck the professor, but like the professor, if the professor does not care about you and the professor says like, "Oh, it's really hard to pass this class," ditch the class. Like, leave. Like, don't waste money on a class that you're gonna fail, you know? So it's not, I think that college deserves to be recognized as like different from the from like everything else, you know? Like college is so different, and I think that that as a high school student, you sort of get trapped in this like, oh, well, what they're preparing me for college. They're preparing me for college. They're not preparing you for shit. Okay. What college prepares you for is life. What high school prepares you for is work. Work is not life. In America, especially, most people work to live, right? You leave work and then you go and you hang out with your family, you hang out with your friends, you spend time on the weekends doing things that you want to do just enough that you don't want to die. You know, like it's just enough for your brain to prepare for the rest of the week, right? People, when people say they live for the weekend, they literally mean they live for the weekend. And I don't. I like my job, but not that I do this for my job, but I like my job enough that I don't, that if I didn't have to drive to work, I wouldn't actually mind my job. You know, it's that in America, because people are built on this, like, because corporations and like companies are built on like maximize profit, minimize cost, they don't support their employees and they don't support like the people who actually do the things that they need to do in order to function as a company. So in America, the employees are not assets, they are expenses. And I think that is a really bad way to look at employees, because employees, like people who work for you, are not like, yeah. Anyway, that's a rant. I have not talked about the build at all for like 10 minutes. Anyway, we are downstairs in the basement now, and this has an additional 4 rooms. So the rooms that are upstairs, I did imagine were more for like upperclassmen, so people who have graduated their undergraduate degrees. They are going on to be psychologists, history professors, historians, things like that. Whereas the kids down here, they get stuck in the basement because the they're the underclassmen. So the kids who've only been in high school or college, sorry, in college for like a year or two. So they're working on their undergraduate degrees, so like the associate degrees. Once you graduate with your associates, you are a upperclassman, or like a graduate degree, like a graduate student. So you are getting like, that's when things become more specific to your degree. So if you're an underclassman, an undergraduate right now, I say underclassman, I don't think that's a real like thing, but if you are an undergraduate right now, just know that like if you are decide to pursue a graduate degree, it will get better. It will get better. And if you're in high school right now, college is better. Like college is better. I don't know why high school teachers are like, we're preparing you for college. College professors give you less slack. Like, no. Most college professors will, or even like college teachers, give you, which are different, which I found out because my philosophy teacher was like, he was the director of humanities at my college, and he was like, we don't have professors at this institution. We only have teachers at this institution. So if any teacher tells you to call them professor, you should, because it's respectful, but just know that we do not have that title as like a thing at this institution. So but like your professors, your teachers, they honestly, you just email them. If you have a bad, shitty professor, I am so sorry. They should honestly, like, my college experience was so much better, I feel like, than like my friend. My friend is going to a different universe, or going to a different college than I did. She's in a different state than I am, but she is going to a different place and a different college, and her professors are so shitty. Like, they don't have deadlines on half of the assignments. They only have deadlines on the syllabus, not like the actual assignments, which is really fucking shitty because like some students don't have the ability to like have access, like readily have access to the syllabus all of the time. Like some students don't, like, only are able to access their stuff on their phone or at the library or what have you. And so to not have it, like only have it on the syllabus is kind of shitty, because not all students think to check the syllabus. And so it's like, if you have an online sort of thing, like a half online or like a totally online, or like there's an online component, because even some of my, especially post COVID, all of my classes had like a Google Classroom style thing, or like a style setup where like you would go to class and they would assign things, but all of those assignments would be digital. So that was great because then you could access it anytime. But it was also kind of annoying because then you had to have internet to have access to them, and not every student has access to the internet. Um, so I think that her college is really bad. Um, but I am talking over it again. College, I'm very passionate about college, if you can't tell. And if you came here for like a, I don't know, like a structured video, um, we're neurodivergent around here. We do not understand the concept of structure. So either that or we only understand the concept of structure. There is no in between. So I talked over the library. There's 4 computers and 2 chess tables because this is Britechester. So I did imagine that they put a lot of emphasis on, like, like, what's the word? Like brain stuff. So like history and art, and those are they're like distinguished degrees, I believe. So, and like art history and stuff. So we have that. And then we have a bunch of bookshelves from the book note kit. Great for libraries. Like I said, 4 computers, 2 chess tables, and then we are working on, or we're working on, are working on the rooms off of the library. We have a historian, so I imagined that Sim was probably studying to be an archaeologist. Hence the archaeology table from the Jungle Adventure. I was going to say Jungle Adventure kit. That is a game pack. And then we have the chef. So I imagined they were majoring in the culinary arts degree. And then these other 2 rooms, I did have like hints of like what they might be majoring in, but I did leave them a little bit more generic. Just because I feel like these rooms would be easier for your Sims to move into if you decide to do that. And if your Sim happens to be a culinary arts degree major, they have a room for them. This does use a lot of packs. I don't do a lot of limited pack builds. I've been doing some limited pack like rooms. So let me know if you want to see some like limited pack like builds, because I think I've only done a couple. But we have these, and then I want the like brown and green room I imagined was more like slightly into plants, and then this Sim was a little bit more into reading. So we've got that, and they do have a couple. This Sim has like some tea. Really love that one from, I think it's paranormal. And then we have just some other stuff in here. I'm getting some lights. I'm not sure if we move outside to finish the build. I think we do. Yeah, here we go. So we are outside. We're getting like a little garden patch sort of thing. I did imagine that these Sims would prefer to have like their own like grown food, because like you live you live next to campus, and technically it's on campus but not really on campus. Like it's kind of annoying to have to go all the way to the commons to eat food when you live in a house. Like I can understand the like dorms because those feel more like apartments, but these ones are like full on houses, you know? And so it seems kind of silly that you can't have anything. Like you can't have a like a grill, you can't have a stove or a pizza oven or anything like that. So I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. He's being really chaotic right now. Um, but yeah, I think it's really silly. Anyway, so we are getting some lights, and then I will be finishing up some last minute touches to the like common spaces. We do end up getting those hot pots and other things. And then I'm just getting some of this, of the like train paint, to the like garden space and stuff. And then I go through and just layer some terrain paint. I feel like it looks better that way. But we are finishing up. It's not too much detail out here. There's not a lot of landscaping. I imagine the university probably does not want to have to deal with that. So anyway, we are finishing up the build. If you like this, if you would like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot. And I will see all of you on Saturday. Bye now.